friend. Welcome back to my kitchen. If YouTube brought you here, my name is Stacy, and around here I create quick, easy, delicious, affordable meals. And I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new here, you may not realize that I work from home. And so what that means for you is sometimes I make meals for one, sometimes I make meals for two when it's just my husband and I, and when my college kids are home, I make family-sized meals. Well, today I'm going to be cooking just for me. I'm going to be creating some lunches for myself, and not just any lunches. Some lunches that use our favorite kitchen helper, Betty Crockpot. You all know that I love her. She is a 2-quart Crockpot. I'll link it in the description below so you can find her. It's perfectly sized for 1 or 2. This week, I'm going to be creating soups all week long for myself. If you cook for a family, I will have not only the soup recipes for one, but I'll have all of the links down in the description box if you want to create this for a family. Or if you want to double or triple the recipe and have it for the freezer. All of these meals, all of these soups are delicious right out of the freezer as well. Now they're all going to be based on 16 ounces. So 2 cups, 16 ounces of soup made in our crock pot. If you want them done quicker, you can also do it on the stovetop as well. So again, variations for 1, 2, or a family, and cooking variations as well. If that sounds like something that you would be interested in, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I create recipes like this every single week right here on my channel. And if you hit that like and subscribe button, I'll be sure to show up in your feed every week. All right, let's get started with our week of soups. Before we get Soup Week started, I wanted to take just a little time to prep. 4 out of 5 of our recipes use vegetables, and not all of them say we'll use the red pepper, for example, but they will use some of these. So we're going to go ahead to save ourselves some time this week and go ahead and dice these all up. Okay, so we have everything diced up. Carrots, celery, red pepper, our garlic. We ran through a garlic press, and then we also diced up an onion. So now that we have our veggies prepped, we're going to talk prepping our meat. Now we're going to need a 1/2 pound of beef. So we're going to divide this in 4ths, and a 1/4 pound of each one of these is going to go into 2 of our dishes. So we'll take the other 1/2 pound and just put that in the freezer. But I want to go ahead and brown and drain 1/2 pound of this. And then also, one of our soups uses an Italian sausage link. So I'm going to go ahead and take the casing off of this and brown this as well. So we'll have all of our veggies cut, and our meat that we can prep ahead of time will already be cooked. I'm going to wash my hands, and I'll be right back. Now I'm just going to drain the fat off of this, and we are prepped and ready to go. Up first is hamburger soup. Now this recipe is actually a variation of the Pioneer Woman's recipe for hamburger soup. So be sure to check that out. I will put it in the description box below so that you can go to thepioneerwoman.com and print out the entire recipe. But remember, that's going to make a family size. Today, we're only making a 16-ounce version. Also, we're starting with a can, this is a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes. We're gonna use these in 3 different recipes this week. So I'm just gonna use 1/4 cup today, and then I'm gonna store the rest in the fridge for our other soups this week. Let's put this together. We have our 1/4 pound of hamburger. We have 1.5 cups of beef broth. Alrighty, then we have 1/4 cup of those fire roasted tomatoes. For our spices, we have 1/2 teaspoon of all of these: salt, pepper, oregano, parsley, except you all know that I'm a spice wimp, so I only have 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper in here. If you like it spicier, definitely you can add some more cayenne, but for me, just 1/8 teaspoon is plenty hot enough. All of our spices go in there, and then we're also gonna put in a bay leaf. And now for our vegetables. We're gonna put in 2 tablespoons of red pepper, onions, carrots, and the celery. And I almost forgot, we're gonna use 1/2 teaspoon of our minced garlic as well. Now we're just gonna mix all of this together. It looks good already, and it's not even cooked yet. Alrighty, we're just gonna stir all this together. Now, all of our Crockpot recipes this week are gonna cook on high for 3 hours or on low for 6 hours. And this one especially, this one is gonna be finished as soon as these veggies get cooked and they're soft. So really, it might not even take the 3 hours. I'll check it after 2 hours just to kind of see where we are here. But all we need to do is just cook these veggies through. Real quick, I forgot to add, if you're cooking this on the stovetop, it's gonna be done in about 20 minutes. That's all it's gonna take. So you could take this either to the stovetop, or you could let Betty do it for 3 hours. Either way, it's gonna be delicious. This has been cooking on high for 2 hours. So we are just gonna check it really quick and see what we're thinking here. It looks like the carrots are done, but the onions need a little bit longer. So I'm gonna say with this one, we need a 3-hour cook time. Here we are 3 hours later, and you can definitely tell from the smell that it did need that extra hour. So on high for 3 hours, and you have this delicious hamburger soup for one. Let's go ahead and serve it up. And remember, it does have a bay leaf in it, so remember to take the bay leaf out. And there's the bay leaf. Now for toppings on this one, you could do some cheddar cheese, you could do some oyster crackers, that would be great too. And there is just a little bit more in the crock pot. It would fill up this bowl because remember, it's based on 16 ounces of liquid. So here we have some little toasted bakery bread and our hamburger soup. And I am gonna top this with a little cheddar cheese. And it's time for lunch, y'all. You know, friend, there are some times in life when you just want to pat yourself on the back. And this is one of those times. I have prepped all of these at the beginning of the week so we can put this together in no time. Today, we're doing sausage and lentil soup, my favorite from Carrabba's. We already have the sausage that we browned. We have our tomatoes. These are all of the veggies that we cut, with the exception of the roasted red pepper. This one doesn't use the roasted red pepper. We have a 1/4 cup of lentils. We have a 1.5 cups of chicken broth. Remember, all of our recipes are based on 16 ounces. So 1.5 cups of liquid, and then the rest, the other 1/2 cup, is going to come from our other ingredients. We have all of our spices and our seasonings. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, black pepper, basil, and oregano, and then 1/8 teaspoon of thyme, and I use the pink salt. So that's what that is the pink salt. Now, if you're going to use a regular chicken broth, I would leave out the salt. But I'm using a low sodium chicken broth. I like this one from Pacific. I also like I think it's called Imagine. Both of those are really good. So if you're going to use a regular sodium-based chicken broth, then I would definitely leave out the salt. And just as a reminder, you don't have to worry about writing all of this down. I will link to the printable recipe on my website in the description below, so you'll be able to get all of these measurements. Now, the one thing with lentils is you want to make sure that you wash them first. So I'm going to grab my colander and wash these lentils, and then we'll put everything together. Now, don't blink, because this part is going to go so quickly. I have our washed lentils. We're just going to put that right down inside of our crock pot. And make sure when you wash your lentils that you go through and just see if you can see any rocks or anything. These were pretty clean, so we're good. To that, we're going to add our sausage. And here we have 2 tablespoons of carrots, celery, and onion. Those will go right in. A 1/4 cup of our fire roasted tomatoes. A 1.5 cups of chicken broth. Our spices, and our bay leaf. I'm just going to give this a quick little stir real quick. Kind of break up that sausage from it being in the refrigerator. There we go. Now this is going to cook on low for 3 hours. If you wanted to do this on the stovetop, you could just cook it for about 20 minutes on the stovetop. But I like the idea of fix it and forget it. So we'll see you in about 3 hours. Well, I got a pleasant surprise. This is done after 2 hours. Oh my goodness, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. So after 2 hours, go in with a spoon. This is 2 hours on high, by the way. Go in with a spoon and just see how your veggies and your lentils look. And I have everything cooked through here, so we're good. Lunch is early today. I love that. Now remember, this one has a bay leaf, so be sure you take the bay leaf out. And it's right there on top. Now I have to search for it. There it is. Oh, okay. Let's get some of that broth in here. Does that not look like Carrabba's? I mean, it is a definite copycat. I'm going to take some of this Parmesan, just like we're at the restaurant. I'm gonna put it in the right place for you. Don't you love it? Tell me when, and you just want to say, keep going, keep going, keep going. We love Parmesan cheese. Yum, yum. Let's eat. I wanted to show you off camera. I just poured everything that was in our crock pot into this bowl so you can see how you could probably get 2 tiny bowls or a nice 16-ounce bowl here. So that's everything that was in the crock pot though. Now it's time to eat. I am so excited about this one, friend. It is a copycat of my favorite Panera potato soup. It's so easy and so simple because everything is already been prepped. I shouldn't say everything. Some of the ingredients have already been prepped, like our onions and our celery. You're also going to need with this a medium potato. Now, if you're OCD like me, you're going to say, Stacy, is this a medium potato or is that a medium potato? What size is a medium potato? How long does it need to be? What? See what I mean? You'll drive yourself crazy. So instead of saying a medium potato, we're just going to say 1 cup of chopped potato. How about that? So we don't drive ourselves crazy wondering which medium is medium, right? Alrighty, so let's go over our ingredients, shall we? Put these off to the side. Okay, we have 2 tablespoons of celery, 2 tablespoons of onion, and 2 tablespoons of bacon, a cup of our chopped potato, 1 1/4 cups of chicken broth, and then we have our seasonings. This is going to be a 1/4 teaspoon of all of these: garlic, pepper, parsley, and salt. And again, I'm using the low sodium chicken broth. So if you have one that's a higher sodium count, then leave out your salt. But since we went with the low sodium version, we will leave the salt in. That's going to be what we're going to cook our potato soup in on high for 3 hours. After we're finished cooking, we're going to add a few ingredients. We're going to add some cheddar cheese. We're going to add a tablespoon of cream cheese and a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. You can add half and half in milk if you want to. I just happen to have this in my fridge, so I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of this. But we don't want to cook these because these will separate if they get too hot. So that goes in at the very end. Now all we have to do is just dump our ingredients in Trusty Betty and turn her on high for 3 hours. Just a little stir, and then we'll let Betty do all the work. See you in 3 hours. I forgot to mention that if you're going to cook this on low, it would be low for 6 hours. So pretty much all of our recipes, with the exception of our chili, are going to cook on high for 3 hours or low for 6. Okay, so we have our potato soup. We're going to add our cream cheese, 1 tablespoon of cream cheese. We'll just kind of stir that in. Then we have a 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese. And then we're going to add this 1/4 cup of heavy cream. It just makes it silky and yummy. And like I said, you can leave that out. You can make that be milk instead of heavy cream. You can leave out the cream cheese if you don't like cream cheese. It is whatever you like. Now I have a few toppings here. I have some more bacon, and then we like to do croutons on our potato soup. They're so good once they kind of absorb that broth a little bit. Trying to encourage that cream cheese to melt. So we'll just top it with our little bit of bacon, our few croutons, and we are ready to eat. Yum! How are you feeling, friend? Are you doing okay this cold and flu season? Today's lunch is perfectly timed for my house. Thank goodness nobody's sick, but we need an immunity booster because if you're new around here, you might not know that I'm obsessed with tennis and my entire tennis team has been sick. So I need as much immune boosting as I can get. So I'm gonna get it through our shortcut chicken noodle soup. Now, if you need the family size, I have a short on my channel and I'll link it in the description below that tells you how to make a family size of this. But for today, since we're doing it for my lunch, I'm just gonna do the single serving. What we need is 4 ounces of chicken breast. We're gonna need 2 tablespoons of celery, onion, and carrot. And then here I have a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic and fresh garlic and black pepper. Then I have 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt and 1/2 of a teaspoon of parsley. Don't worry, all of this will be on my website. I'll put that link in the description below. Then we need 1.5 cups of the chicken broth. I used all my other chicken broth, so I'm switching to the to this Imagine. I love these ingredients. You guys, look at how clean this chicken broth is. I love it. So if you can find this one, it's a good one. 1.5 cups of that. Now we're gonna cook all of this for 2.5 hours on high in Betty. After 2.5 hours, we're gonna add 1/4 cup of our egg noodles, and then we'll cook that for 30 minutes with the egg noodles in. So let's get ready to boost our immune system with all of this yummy goodness in this chicken noodle soup today. While I'm throwing this together, I wanted to tell you, if you're gonna cook this on low for 6 hours, I would leave your chicken tenders whole. I would not cut them up. Chicken tends to get dry when it's cut and then you cook it on low. So just leave it whole, and then at the end of your cooking time on low, then bring it out and either shred it or chop it. So, but we're gonna do this on high so we can get to eating lunch, so we can get to work. So let's pull the crock out here and just toss it all in. And our seasoning, all of our veggies, and that yummy chicken broth. And I'll see you in 2.5 hours. Friends, you are not going to believe this. I put the egg noodles in and forgot to record it. My apologies. This cooked for 2 hours and 30 minutes. Our veggies are nice and tender. Our chicken is cooked through. And then I put our egg noodles in. So let's serve this up. Homemade chicken soup in the crock pot. So good. Let's eat, y'all. We made it to the end of the week, friends, and I have saved the easiest one for today. We are going to be making chili. Now, I have the family size version of this on my channel, and in that description is the chili seasoning mix. Now, if you're new around here, you may not know, but I save all of our old spice jars, and then I make seasoning blends and I store them in there. And so this is our chili seasoning mix. You're only going to need about a tablespoon. If you want to do a store-bought chili seasoning mix, that is absolutely fine, because we're only going to need a tablespoon. Whatever works for you, but I will link the recipe down below. We also need an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. We need a tablespoon of tomato paste. Now, this is what I like to do. I get the little cans just like this of tomato paste, but if you only use a tablespoon at a time, what I'll do is I'll put the rest inside a Ziploc bag, smash it flat, and then this sits in my freezer. So whenever I need just a tablespoon of tomato paste, I can just run to the freezer and grab one of these little hockey pucks of tomato paste. Makes it super easy. Then we have our 1/4 pound of our ground beef. We like our chili with beans. If you don't like your chili with beans, you can leave those out. And then the rest of our tomatoes that we've been cooking with this week. Now, when you use a can of tomato sauce, I like to rinse it with water. So I have 8 ounces of water here that I'm just going to rinse it out, and that will be our 16 ounces of liquid in our crock pot. Now, I'm starting this one pretty early, right after my morning coffee. So I'm just going to cook this on low for 4 hours until I end up eating it for lunch. You can cook it on high. Everything is already cooked. All you're doing is warming it through. So you can cook it on high for 2 hours, low 4 to 6. But again, it's chili, so the longer it sits, the better it tastes. Okay, now it's just time to dump and go, right? I'm gonna take the little crock here and let's put all of our ingredients in. Tomato paste, our tomatoes, our browned ground beef. Oops, oh goodness. You know I couldn't get through a whole video without making a mess, y'all. Our beans, tomato sauce, and like I said, we're just going to rinse this can with our water. And add our tablespoon of our chili mix. Give it all a quick stir and let Betty do all the work. I'll see you at lunchtime. Here we are, friend. It's lunchtime. Oh my goodness, 4 hours on low. This chili is perfect. Let me move it a little closer so you can see. There we go. It's hot, it's steamy, it's delicious. Let's plate this up. Now I have some sliced jalapenos, some cheddar cheese, some sour cream, but this would be great with some cornbread muffins. I also have that recipe on my channel, and that is on the chili recipe. So if you look for the chili seasoning recipe, you'll also see that cornbread muffin recipe that is delicious. But for lunch, we're gonna keep it light. Light, I say, as we have a whole bowl of, a whole bowl of chili. All right, let's see. Let's put some little bit of cheddar cheese, a few jalapenos, and a dab of sour cream. And lunch is served. Yummy. Well, there you have it, friend. 5 soups, 5 days. What'd you think? Did you at least find one that you want to cook? How about all 5? Let me know in the comments if you have a favorite recipe that you're going to try. And let me know how many you're cooking for and what variation did you use. Did you pull out Betty Crockpot or did you use the stovetop? Let me know which way, because I just love to see what's more popular amongst all of us friends, right? It's just always interesting. So let me know in the comments. I appreciate you being here, friend. As always, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button so that I can show up in your feed every week and bring you a few new ideas. I hope you have a fabulous day. Have a great one, friend. Bye.